What is up, everybody? So in today's video, we're going to be mounting a few more of the panels. Last video, we did a lot of fiberglass work trying to get both these rear fenders situated and the front fenders, just a bunch of fiberglass repairs with this Bondo glass, whatever. So we ended up getting a bunch of that stuff sorted out after multiple coats, dealing with some hardener stuff, finally got it figured out and got all those patchworks done and sanded. But let me show you what we're dealing with today. So right now I want to mount these fenders on the back, and I still have a few more holes drilled. I'm going to show you something else which arrived today in that white package. But before I do that, let me show you on the front. So in the last video, we got a lot of the tabs and stuff corrected on these fenders, which were down here. So this tab we had to recreate because it was just hanging, which we've done so and accomplished. And I managed to get the fender on, and just after some finagling, this side seems to fit a little bit better than the other side, but honestly they fit pretty good for aftermarket fenders. So, and this side, like I said, this one, I don't know if I have to adjust the headlight to accommodate the fender or if the fender is just not perfect, but just around here it's sitting just a tiny bit higher than the headlight. So it looks like somebody, this isn't my sanding marks, it looks like somebody tried to sand this down more flat, so maybe they had the same issue with their vehicle, whatever that was on. But as far as fitment goes, I mean, the door lines are pretty good through there. I don't have it totally buttoned up on the bottom here, so this will suck in more once I put bolts down there. I just have this one and this one holding it, and I think I just put one loosely in the bottom. This bolt hole was messed up because this bolt was all tweaked from the impact that hit here. So I just have a tap here. I'm just cleaning up the threads. Again, my Harbor Freight taps. But purpose of today's video, I just want to hang everything. And what I'm trying to accomplish by the end of today's video is have all the body panels mounted for this video. And then we can move on to actually getting a lot of the body work prepped for, primer and then eventually paint. So I want to have it at least a complete looking car, hopefully by the end of this video. I still have to put the over fenders back on. I have to drill into the rear bumper. I also have to, there's the tabs on the bumper that still stick out to here, so I do have to cut those off, as you'll see over here. We still got a lot of stuff to do. I don't know how much we'll get accomplished, but these ears have to be chopped off on this bumper, and I still have to patch this here. So I want to sand this, patch it. Another video we ended up patching, or not patching, but we flipped this. This was all punched in. So we ended up flipping it out, heating it up, and getting it pretty flat. We'll probably put a tiny bit of that Bondo hair here, but I don't want to build it up too much. We're probably going to use mostly Bondo here, but we'll patch it from the inside with the Bondo glass. So we got lots to do. Let's get to work. Like I said, let's get these fenders on. But in order to do that, we'll have to put the bumper on to be able to get it situated so I can drill these holes, because this hole, and this hole, they all drill into the bumper and they fasten to the bumper. So we need that on there to get it done. First things first, I'm gonna just throw some glass on the inside here, these two spots that I sanded. That way we can put the bumper on and hopefully don't have to take it off. So if I just put some glass back here to reinforce it real quick, it doesn't take that long. I'll put that there, and then we can put the bumper on and hopefully we don't have to take it off. And I'm gonna mix up some glass, but first, I'm gonna use wax and tar remover over here just to make sure it's all clean, so that we can have the Bondo glass actually adhere to there without any issues. So I want to just make sure it's all clean. So let me wipe that off. She's all clean now, as you can see right here. So let's go mix up some glass. So here we are. It kind of looks like a bunch of melted chocolate, and you could probably get smoother, but it's not cosmetic, honestly. It's on the inside, so this is definitely gonna hold. I know as soon as this stuff hardens up, it's gonna be hard as a rock. So I'm just gonna let that set up. It usually sets up pretty quickly, like 5 minutes. This stuff is hard as a rock, and then we'll be all set. We can throw the bumper on. The crack is minute, and we can do whatever we gotta do from the outside, but there's no way that that's gonna even move. It was already pretty stiff before, but with this stuff on the back, it's definitely not going anywhere. So we'll let this cure up and then we'll move on. So it's a little darker out now. We gave it a good, probably at least half an hour, probably 45 minutes, and it's hard now. So it's all packed up. Kind of looks ugly, but I don't care too much. You're never gonna see it. So Now our bumper is reinforced and we can go ahead and throw it on. So let's go ahead and toss it on. So the bumper is all on. I had to play a little bit with this because this got pushed in a bit, but I straightened it out just ever so slightly. This part of the bumper is a little bit, you know, deformed, but overall I think it's okay. I think it's drawing more attention to anything but the fact that there's missing paint and that there's this little bump that we have to sand out. But I got it all in place. This actually, I mean, it's attached, but it kind of lifted a little bit with that stuff in the back, I guess, grabbing onto it. It's hard as a rock. I mean, you can't pick it or you can't do anything. So, but I think I do have to knock this hard edge down again a little bit. Yeah, but once we get this on here, we can sand it and you can get it formed. It's a little bit hard to do on the ground. The only problem is all of this, as you can see, is all cracking. So I'm probably honestly gonna have to take this off. Otherwise, if we put new stuff on it, it might lift coming off of this. So one other thing I wanna do before we put the over fenders on is I do wanna chop this off finally. So we're gonna chop this off, but we're gonna leave this mount here. So that's gonna screw into there. Actually, what I might do is pop a screw in here to hold it in place so that we have our alignment, and then we're gonna cut here, and same thing on the other end. We're gonna cut these two ears off because they're no longer needed. So let's go ahead and get it. So this side's super ugly but functional. Again, this was that kind of weird cutout that we had here, and I just matched it down. So we'll end up having the full, you know, arch of what we need. And the other side will look a little bit better, I promise, but this side is more just functional than anything and just matching that ugly cut we got there. So let's move on to the other side. So here's this side. It's not the prettiest thing in the world, but it's functional. Just matches up to here. I don't think we really have to arc it out and come back, to be honest. That should be plenty for what we're trying to do, because the wheel is just gonna sit here and be further out. So if we need to in the future, we can always trim more, but I highly, highly doubt that this is gonna be any issue, because you gotta remember that this is way out of the normal travel range over here. So anyways, that's that. Now I can hang the over fenders on both sides and we can see where we need to drill our extra holes. So driver's side is on, we got all the top bolts in, and this is what we're gonna have to do. We're gonna have to drill a hole here, here, and here, and I'm gonna show you the fasteners that we picked up and the stuff to do that. But before that, let's get the other side on. Before we continue, I think we need to take it for a quick drive though. Woo. It's a little weird when you don't have a seat bolted in, it almost throws you backwards. That's hilarious. So she works. It's got a bit of a low down bog, honestly. And the brakes, I'm kind of trying to ride the brakes a little bit just to get them, because there's so much rust on the brakes right now. You can hear them like clunking on some sort of spot where they were sitting for a while, but a bunch of rattling. We still got a bunch of loose panels and interior panels, but I think I need to do something with injectors. I've done some reading, and the down low bog has to do with injectors, so I might have to attend to that, but she works, you guys, she works. So next up, now that we have the fenders installed, we have the rear bumper installed where it should be, we have these three to tackle. So we have this one here, which is gonna screw directly in, but we have this one and we have this gap. We have it on both sides. The top is a little bit tighter than the bottom. It's just a slightly larger gap. But I guess we could technically make it, but I mean, not anything drastically noticeable, but eventually there's a bumper that fits this body kit that comes out. It's just a different style bumper, and it fits a little bit better, but this is still gonna look super trick, and I don't think it's gonna look out of place when I show you guys what we're gonna do. So over here I have some fasteners, and what we're gonna do is use these M5 nuts. So these are gonna be pretty cool. I might have to trim them just slightly, but the idea behind these is when we drill through the fender, rather than just putting a nut on the back, what I'm gonna do is these things have little teeth on them that you can see. They're gonna sink in. We'll drill a hole that is exactly that size. Put this in from the back side. These teeth will grab into the plastic. And again, I might have to trim these down just ever so slightly, but the teeth will grip in and that'll give us something to fasten to that we can remove whenever we need to. So that nut will always be stuck to the back of the bumper. We can remove these whenever we need to. The bumper could come off and it can be pretty easily removed and taken apart. So that's the idea behind that. We also have larger M5 bolts that are gonna be going into here. So I had to get large ones. You guys saw the shorter ones that I had over here, but these longer ones are gonna go all the way through and into the bumper like so, right? But what we do have to make up for is the distance. So that's where this comes into play. So if I can open this with one hand, let me open this and I'll show you what it is. So I ordered this online and hopefully it is what I'm hoping it's supposed to be. Perfect. So it's nothing crazy, it's just aluminum rod. And this is the size of it. What we're gonna do is we're gonna drill the center of it so that this bolt can go through. And it's gonna serve as a stand. So I'm gonna cut them to length of those gaps that I showed you. The bolt's gonna go through and it's gonna come through the other side and it's gonna serve as a support. And I don't know if we're gonna paint these. I'll probably paint them maybe black or something, or maybe polish them, do something trick with them. But I'm gonna drill out the center of that like so. We'll chop it to length from what we measure, and then that'll be our support and our spacer for these bolts. So it should be pretty cool. But let's get everything situated and we'll get working. So these top stands look like they're gonna be about 7/8 of an inch, and the bottom ones look like they're gonna be about 1 inch when we suck this into where it's supposed to be. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut these two lengths and we'll test it out. And if everything works good, looks good, then we'll match the other side. So here's the top spacer, and that's gonna fit just inside here like so. Once we shave it down and everything like that and drill it. So it should work out right there. I still have to do some smoothing out and get rid of the rough edges, but that should work. Let me go ahead and cut the other top spacer and then we'll work on the bottom. So here's our two spacers. We have the shorter ones and the little bit longer ones. After doing some double checking on the measurements over there, it was actually like 1 1/8 inch. So I made these ones 1 1/8 inch. These ones are 7/8 of an inch. And now I'm gonna drill at the center of them just with a drill bit. Hopefully I can hold on to them. And a vise would be beautiful right now, but I don't have a vise. I'm just working with what I got. So we're gonna go ahead and use some pliers, hold on to them, drill at the centers, and then we'll continue. Well, let me just say that took far longer than what I wanted to, but we did achieve the results we wanted to. This stuff is, I just ordered this off Amazon, just this aluminum rod, but I don't know if it's aircraft strength or what, but it is super tough to drill, cut, whatever. I mean, I guess it's good in the long run, but definitely a lot more material or strength of material than we need. But I'm gonna finish off the rest of them, not bore you guys, and I'll show you guys when we're completed. So here's the aftermath of our makeshift drill press. And some of them are not quite centered because obviously I can't get it completely centered, but I did the best I could. Some are a little bit off, but what is present is some of the bite marks from holding it with those channel locks. So I came up with another little ingenious method to get rid of those. So I'm gonna clean them up nicely. And what I did was I just took a long screw, put it through it to hold it, and then put the screw into the bit and tightened it down, or the chuck. And I'm just using some 80 grit sandpaper and holding the trigger and running it here, and it's coming out smooth and shiny, if you guys can see that. So I'm gonna do that to all of them. I'll show you guys that funny little trick, and then we should be ready to start using them. So here are our beautiful brushed aluminum spacers. Came out pretty good. It's pretty cool how they're like, have that brushed look to them now. But we'll probably end up painting them black, to be honest, or something of that nature. But let's go ahead and drill the holes on the car and get these installed. All right, so what I'm gonna do is put the small spacer in behind and guide the drill bit through it. And that should land exactly where we need to land. This is the plan on the bumper. So we'll pop our hole in here. So there we go, there's the hole in the bumper. And that will correspond to those nuts that I showed you. But that will be the bolt in there. And then we'll do the same for the bottom here. There we go. That one's done also. So the holes are all drilled. I'm gonna go ahead and take off both over fenders and pop this rear bumper off, and we can insert our nuts into the bumper. So it is actually the next day, and I spent a little bit of time figuring out how I wanted to accomplish the goal of getting those fasteners on there. Did a little bit of messing around, got the other side done. So I'm gonna show you what I did, and then I'll show you how I did it so that we can wrap it up, get that bumper back on there. So again, here's the holes that we drilled. We have 1, 2, and then this third one here that correspond to those fender flares. And on this side, I've already mounted those little nuts. So you can see we have the nut here, if my camera focuses, 1, down here we have 2, and then over here 3. And what they are these little tiny things, and the teeth just kind of set into the plastic, and they grab and they stop from spinning. So they're not, they don't have to fully seat all the way. I mean, we're not holding a tremendous amount of weight or anything like that. And what'll happen is by the time the flange ends up butting up against our surface, whether it's our collar like this, it'll stop there. I've already tested them. They screw in no problem, and they stop, and you can get them pretty tight. So that's all we're gonna need. So that way we have something that we don't have to sit there and put a wrench in behind, especially this one. I mean, you can probably get your hand in to access these two, but trying to get up there next to the tail light to put a nut on the back is gonna be next to impossible. So these are gonna do the trick. And what I did have to do is customize them just slightly because they were too long originally. So I have the 3 for this side over here. So you can see this is the original one, and you can, oh, there you go. This is the original one. That's how tall it is. And you can see how much, maybe it sticks above these little spikes, about 1/8 of an inch. And what I did was I drilled them down with this big fat drill bit, and then just chased them with this tap again, just to make sure the threads were clean. So you can see there that it's pretty well just flush with the teeth. And I still got to clean up a little bit of this excess metal, but I've already cleaned the threads out, so we're good to go. Just got a little bit of extra metal on the side, but definitely a big difference between the two. If you take a look, hopefully you can see. So you can see the height difference. So that's what I ended up doing. I only have this one last one to finish, so I'm gonna show you guys what I did there. So here's the installation method. It is super easy. You just put the nut behind, thread it in, and it sucks itself in flush. Probably one of the easier things we're doing for sure. So you grab that, put our handle on, and then we'll tighten it. Okay, so all of these nuts are inserted. We're good to go with the bumper. Before I put the bumper on though, there's a couple areas here. I just feathered them out a tiny bit with that palm sander. You guys didn't miss anything, I promise. But one of the general, if this was actually gonna be exposed, right? Like if we were gonna be seeing it on the body, one of the general rules of thumbs that I learned when I did a bit of body work before, and by all means it really wasn't much, but I did paint one car and had a shop kind of leading me through the process, is whenever you go through a layer, whether it's you go through the color or the primer, you're supposed to feather it out 1 inch. So I kind of did that. So we kind of, you guys remember there was some paint missing here, also some paint missing there. Again, this stuff's all gonna be covered, but I just wanted to make sure we got down to the bare metal because there was some rust creeping up underneath the exposed steel, underneath the primer. So I took it back a little bit so that we don't have any of that going on, because we don't want any moisture and stuff getting underneath and on the bare metal. And then I'm just gonna hit it with a couple squirts of this. So it's not gonna be anything pretty. It really doesn't matter because it's all gonna get covered mostly, but just before we put the bumper on, it'll just make it a little bit easier. So I just got this little cardboard set up so I can just kind of give a few squirts there and here as well, and then we'll go ahead and put the bumper on. There is one spot on this side too that we'll just touch up a tad, which is this one, but other than that, we're almost ready. I'm just gonna shake this up, give it a couple light coats on there before we throw the bumper on. Back bumper's on. Let's go ahead and just test fit our flares on both sides, and we'll see how everything bolts up, lines up, and looks. Okay, well, here she is, boys and girls. We got this side all mounted. Everything luckily lined up. I was a little bit worried because, I mean, the bumper can go 1/8 of an inch this way or that way, and then all of a sudden this couldn't line up, but it came out good. I'm not sure how tight I'd want to put this one because this one's like this end gear thing is probably under a ton of stress, but everything's on, it's good. I didn't screw the bumper to the actual car, but this is definitely solid. It's not going anywhere. Our little stands are pretty trick. And they look pretty cool too. I don't know how well the video can capture it, but yeah, we got those spacers in there to hold it out. So technically this could be a brake duct of sorts where it could channel the air out of the fender. Kind of cool looking, kind of like a little vent. And I still have to put this one on. So let's toss this one on and see how this one looks too. So I'm happy to say this side was a success too. So these stands came out great and they're doing what they need to do. Again, I haven't mounted the bumper or fixed the bumper permanently to the car. So there's no screws holding the bumper on. It's just kind of held in place by all those kind of speed clips. But these spacers work good. This came out great. All the bolts still go in. Everything's not under stress. So those are all done, and we are getting pretty close to being able to paint this thing and to make it look pretty, put some lipstick on it. Just some small body work we're gonna have to do next, but I should be able to get a lot of that stuff done pretty fast. I feel like this we're gonna have to attend to, so we're gonna have to sand this down. For whatever reason, when I put the fiberglass on there, it kind of lifted this. As you can see, that's just a little bit. So we'll have to do that. All this cracked paint that I think I was showing you guys before, that has to get sanded down, and just some odds and ends. Like there's a couple small dents in the trunk, which you might be able to see right there, that I probably want to get to. Just tiny stuff. This one, we got to repair that. Still have to deal with the hood, and then we still have to shape this stuff over here, and just some minor body work on this side. But same thing, there's that same sort of soft dent here where the quarter is. And I did notice there's a couple small door dings in this door, so, and you know, these scratches we'll have to sand down, but honestly it's getting pretty close, and we're gonna have to decide or maybe take a vote on what we want to do as far as if we're gonna paint it right away, or maybe we'll try wrapping it or plastic dipping it, but let's have those discussions shortly. All right, you guys, so that's gonna do it for today's video. If you did like it, make sure you give it a thumbs up. It helps and supports the channel, it helps us grow and do cool things in the future. But like I was mentioning, let me know in the comments below whether you guys think we should tackle painting this thing first, or maybe doing something fun with it, whether that is plastic dipping the whole car or wrapping it first. You let me know. As far as painting, it's gonna take a bit more prep, because if I'm gonna go through all the hassle and buy all the paint supplies, when I went the other day to get the paint quoted, it's gonna end up being like $500 in supplies. So yeah, and with that being said, if I'm gonna go ahead and spend like $500 on paint supplies, I'm gonna wanna make sure it's perfect, so I might spend a bit more time. Whereas if we just plastic dip it, we can blast it cool color. I was thinking maybe fluorescent yellow, like that neon color that you see, kind of highlighter yellow. Maybe plastic dip it highlighter yellow and see how it looks for a bit before we decide on the ultimate color. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. We're getting real close to being able to drive this thing. Maybe I'll go register it and we'll drive it around all ugly, because there's really not stopping it from being roadworthy. It's you know, legit that way. It's just kind of ugly, that's all. But anyways, you guys, see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.